to the Arsenal Fan Review channel and welcome to my preview and predicted lineup for Arsenal versus Tottenham, the North London derby kicking off tomorrow, Sunday, the 14th of March 2021 at 4:30pm. It's going to be shown on Sky Sports and it's at home at the Emirates Stadium. This is going to be a huge game. I did actually contact 10 Spurs fans to come on the channel if they wanted to preview this game, but none of them were even that confident to reply. So I've had to get along Mr. Everything Arsenal, Glenn Kitely. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm not shocked to hear Spurs fan disappointing. They're used to disappointment down there, so I'm not surprised. Thank you for having me on again.
No worries. Didn't even get back to me. But how are you feeling ahead of the derby? It's kicking off tomorrow now, isn't it? So getting nervy.
Yeah, I'm very, very scared, especially... Okay, usually at home to Tottenham, I'm not scared because I think they've beaten us once in 14 games at the Emirates Stadium. And even before that, they rarely beat us at home. They've never done a Premier League double over us. So we should be confident. But yeah, the mistakes we've been making, the way Bale has started playing Son-Kane combination this season, I think they've broken the record for most combinations for goal since Premier League started. So I'm actually very scared, but I'm hoping you don't make any of those mistakes. Usually it's a draw in this fixture in the last 6-7 years. It's usually a draw most of the times. But yeah, I'm confident because it's at home. If it was away, then different feeling. And also because you have most of the players back. In the first leg, Matt White-Lane, Odegaard wasn't there. Smith Rowe hadn't been promoted to the first team yet. So this time around, we have a full squad.
I completely agree. And you did touch on those individual mistakes in that bit you just said. That has really been the downfall of this club, hasn't it? I mean, I believe the last 15 goals we've conceded, I think the stats said 8 of them were all individual mistakes. You know, we had Leno and Ceballos kind of combining for one against Olympiacos. We saw Granit Xhaka and Leno again sort of combining for one against Burnley, which of course was the reason we drew that game 1-1. What do you think of these mistakes? I mean, we've got to try and get them out of the club, don't we?
Oh yeah, we need to. I know I blamed Leno the other day just because the positioning where he was, you can't give a pass into the middle of the pitch when you're on the side and the goal is literally in front of where you're passing the ball. Even if they get the ball, you have no chance of recovering because the goal is wide open, literally. The one with Xhaka, at least he was in the goal, but even that one, he was on the side as well. So any mistake, it just literally it can roll in and within 10-15 seconds because you're nowhere near it. So that's a big worry. Ceballos, I did blame him a bit because of the poor touch. Xhaka, usually I'd actually prefer Xhaka in that position because I think he can pick out a pass rather than Elneny or someone like that. But yeah, we need to stop doing that when we are under pressure. When you have a 1-goal lead, when you're trying to get a goal and it's still nil. If you can do that, if it's 4-0, fine. But not if it's 1-0 or 0-0 in a crucial time. That's the Carabao Cup, not Carabao Cup, the Europa League last 16 and the last 32 with the Benfica game. Imagine what will happen in the final if you do that. You won't have enough time to recover. So you'll meet up with better teams. So we need to cut that out. But we've been used to it for a lot of years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's cost us a lot of points this season. And I saw a thread on Twitter the other day saying reasons why it's not Mikel Arteta's fault, really, that we're in this position. Because if those individual errors where he has no, control over that, we would be right up the Premier League table. But focusing on our opponents for a couple of minutes, what have you made of Tottenham this season? I mean, 1 month they were going to win the league, they were having their best ever season, and now they're still doing okay, but it's not looking as good, is it?
Yeah, it's not looking as good. I think they're 7th place right now. I was just doing my preview right now as well. I think they're 7th place. I think away from home, they have a poor record this season. They beat United 6-6 at Old Trafford, but I think they've only scored 19 goals away from home, if I'm not wrong. They struggled away to the likes of Crystal Palace. They were lucky to get 3 points away to Fulham. The rule was changed the next day. Should have been a draw for Fulham. So they struggle a bit away from home. I've spoken to a Spurs fan the other day, and she was saying she was talking about being mad at Mourinho because of the tactics. They usually, even when they score 1 goal against Fulham, they literally defend for the rest of the 50 minutes remaining. So I'll still be confident even if they took the lead, because they usually don't try to get the second anyway. So Tottenham, basically, I'd expect them to be around their sixth, fifth, somewhere there. So yeah, I think it's disappointing for both teams still now. They could still win the Carabao Cup as well. I hope they don't. So they're having a better season than us, definitely. Defensively, I think we've conceded almost the same number of goals around. I think we're both in the top 3 for conceding least goals, a number of goals in the league. So mixed season for them as usual.
Yeah, I mean, it's been okay. Like I said, 1 month they were doing so well, and that continued when they, of course, beat us 2-0 last time we did play them. But of course, they won the league for them. But so much has changed since that game. I mean, we've been on the up ever since Christmas. We've, like you said, promoted players such as Smith Rowe into the team. Saka and Pepe have broken through, and they've been brilliant recently, along with the likes of Willian and others players as well. I mean, what do you think has changed? It's been completely different.
Yeah, even if you mentioned that White Hart Lane game, they literally scored 2 goals from counter-attacks and they did nothing in the second half. They literally got 2 goals and that was it. The previous game we played against them after lockdown last year, I think it was July or something. I think we played twice in like 5 months at their place. That game as well, we had the most shots. We had the most shots on target. We had the most possession, I think 70%. Most corners, most attempts, passing accuracy, but they still beat us 2-1 when Alderweireld scored the corner. So they've never really dominated us. A lot of has changed the squad, the lineup, Thomas, the lineup. I was checking the lineup for that game. We had Mustafi on the bench, Willock on the bench, Nelson on the bench, and Nketiah, a bench that cannot change anything. Obviously, we only allowed 7 subs as well by then, not 9. Okay, not 9 players on the bench. That then we had 7. We could make 3 subs as well. There was no concussion sub. Willian started that game very, very poor. Bellerin was quite poor in that game. Partey went off in the middle of the game with an injury. So all that has changed. Right now, we have a fully fit squad. This is the first time, I know you might come to the lineup soon, but we have a fully fit squad, literally. So, as I said, Odegaard addition, Smith Rowe addition. Partey is now almost fully fit. Gabriel is fully fit. Pablo Mari is back. He wasn't there. Martinelli is back. He wasn't there. So, strong bench as well. So, I'm quite happy with that. I think Pepe was also suspended for that game after the red card against Leeds. So, a lot of changes. We have a better squad than what we had that day, for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree again. And of course, you mentioned the lineup. I was looking back even further the other day at the lineup for the Europa League final, which of course we don't really want to talk about that much. But of course, that was the 4-1 defeat to Chelsea. And I mean, we were playing Cech and Guy. I believe there was players such as Mustafi starting. So imagine that squad that we've got now playing back then. We could have potentially won the whole competition. But focusing on Spurs just one bit more, you did mention Kane and Son. I personally think that they are the 2 danger men for this game. They've not been like the rest of the team, really, where they've had a bit of a sloppy couple of months. They've still fired on. They're still doing so well. Would you agree with me there?
Oh, yeah, they are very good. Like, if you were to ask me which Spurs players I'd pick at Arsenal, definitely be the both of them. To the point where I've seen people making combined 11s and Son gets you thinking and like, Son or Saka, who would you pick? People actually, Saka, he'd be direct into any team. But since Son has been very, very good, he can, what I love about them, Kane this season, he has picked up different aspects in his game. He can now assist. He can now literally play as a midfielder. He has those long passes. I think he's also about to break one record. I won't get it 100% right, but the only player to have scored 25 goals with the left foot, 25 goals with the right foot, 25 goals with the header. I think there's only one player who's done that. I think it's Fowler or someone else, and he's close to breaking that record, and it's on a very good streak. He's already broken one record with Son this season in terms of assisting each other every single game. And now they have the addition of Bale. Every time I watch Tottenham and Kane is not there, they look lost. Son as well, he looks lost. You can't actually fancy them scoring a goal. When they're there, both of them, probably one of the best strikers in England. As I said again yesterday, if you give him another 6-7 years, I think he'll become the Premier League's all-time top scorer and he'll get past Shearer. So very, very dangerous for us. Dangerous, definitely. We can't be making those mistakes.
They are 2 brilliant players, and I would not be surprised if one of them did surpass Shearer's record, like you said, Harry Kane. And you did say that would be one of the or those two would be the players you could pick from Spurs. Who would you swap for them, though? Would you swap anyone for them?
Okay, if you give me Kane ahead of Lacazette, I'd definitely take it. If you give me Son ahead of Pepe, I'd definitely take it. If you give me Son ahead of Willian, I'll take it. The only players I wouldn't give away are Saka and Aubameyang. I think Aubameyang and Kane are the same kind of finishers. I think, yes, Kane has the ability of being a team player like Lacazette, holding the ball, passing, but he doesn't have the pace of Aubameyang. So they all have this and this, but this one has that and that. So I think they are similar kind of players. So the only ones that replace is Lacazette and Willian and Pepe maybe for Son and Kane, but not Aubameyang and Saka.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I'd do that as well. But, I mean, imagine what could have been. I mean, Kane was an Arsenal fan, of course, overall, a couple of years ago until we released him.
Yeah.
It was so close.
As well.
So close. Yeah, I saw a picture of him, yep. What could have been if they had all stayed true to the club? But then, of course, look at what Sol Campbell could have been if he had stayed true to Tottenham. But you did talk about records as well.
Yeah.
But you did touch on records. I was reading an interesting stat today that if Tottenham do win tomorrow, that means in their Premier League existence, they would have equaled the same amount of wins that only Arsene Wenger got Arsenal himself, even though they've had an extra 8 years or so combined either side. So it does just show how great Arsene Wenger was. I mean, the whole Spurs team, and I think it's like 465 or something like that to 466, like one game in between. But hopefully we can delay that record another week. But moving on. You
explained that very well, by the way. You explained that stat very well. That's a difficult stat, but I got it. Yeah.
But looking at the last games for both teams, Arsenal, of course, beat Olympiacos 3-1 away. A great game. The performance wasn't that good, but we still did look okay, and the confidence will be high going into this derby. But, of course, looking at Spurs, on the other hand, they also won their game 2-0, this time against Dinamo Zagreb. Maybe not a game as hard as the Olympiacos one, but it still would have been tough for them, and yet both of us did come out on top. What did you make of both of those performances?
For Arsenal, I did expect both teams to win their games. I think Tottenham was supposed to play their first game away from home, but it was swapped. I wouldn't be happy with that way. I wouldn't be happy with our game being swapped home or 2 away or some. For us, we almost made it hard for ourselves as usual. I did expect, I think most people predicted a 3-1. I also predicted a 3-1. So we got what we needed at the end of the day. No one expected Gabriel and Elneny to score, but I'll take it. Tottenham again, Dinamo Zagreb. I think they had the easiest of draws, 2-0. I know yesterday on the Premier League TV they did push me and ask me the question of tell us why Tottenham will bottle it. I don't think they'll bottle it. I think they've already gone through in that competition as well. So we might be facing them in quarterfinal or something, or semi-final. I think both teams have gone through. I didn't watch the Tottenham game because we were watching Arsenal. But Kane usually finishing his chances as usual. 2-0, I think that's comfortable. They didn't get any away goal. All they need to go do there is to defend what Mourinho likes. So if they get one goal, it's totally over for Dinamo. So easy for both teams. I think the job is done for the first legs. So they can both afford to rest players this weekend.
I completely agree as well. So it will make for an interesting derby. Both some pretty good teams. And of course, touching on injury, like you did say, we have got an entire squad for once. I think it was the same against Olympiacos with the entire squad fit as well, which is something so nice to hear, because injuries at Arsenal have been another major part of why we've been not that great over the past years. We had Partey out for most of this season alone, and that has really just put us down a bit. But looking at Tottenham's injuries, Kane should be available. He did have some ice on his leg or something like that after the game, but Mourinho's saying he should be available, and it was just mind games kind of. And Lo Celso, the seventh time. Lo Celso should be back for them as well. So both teams, we can, rest players on Thursday. We don't have to save any for the Thursday fixtures, and we've got no injuries at all. So it will be very interesting. Two brilliant squads coming together, and of course, I know lots of people do say form goes out the window, and I know it's kind of cliche, but it is completely true, isn't it? So it will be a very interesting game. But taking a look at my starting 11, well, I'd go for the usual 4-2-3-1. Leno in goal, back four of Tierney, Gabriel, Cedric, and then I'm not sure whether I would play Luiz or Marie. Lots of people are taking Luiz out of their 11 because of that mistake he made the other day against Olympiacos. But I don't really want to be that harsh on him. But then again, as lots of people say, he's always the one that has a mistake in him, and Marie has been very good lately. Then Partey and Xhaka partnership, that always does well. Partey brilliant the other day, and Xhaka, yes, again he did make the mistake against Burnley, but looking at Arteta, he's probably never going to drop him. Moving up the pitch once again, though, Pepe out on the left for me. I don't want to be that harsh on Willian, but yes, he made a couple assists, but still not that good, still not as good as Pepe, I don't think. And Saka out on the right. My number 10 would, and again, this is one of those I'm not sure about. I mean, I don't want to rush Smith Rowe back from injury, but I guess on the other hand, you could argue that Odegaard did have a very good goal the other day, but in terms of his overall performance, that wasn't brilliant, was it? And my striker would be either Aubameyang or Martinelli. I would not be upset with either of them. And to be honest, I wouldn't even be that annoyed if we saw Lacazette start. I think all three of them are very good. But what do you make of that? And do you have a rough 11?
Now, you said people are taking Luiz out because of the mistakes. Now, if every Arsenal player went out because of the mistakes, we'll run out of players. We'll take out Leno, we'll take out Luiz, we'll take out Ceballos, we'll take out Xhaka, we'll take out Cedric, Bellerin, we'll take out everyone. So we'll run out of players. So Luiz has to be there. I think he's been our best defender this year, 2021. He has to be there next to Gabriel. Yeah, and I feel like Gabriel is better next to Luiz. I don't know if it's the communication and everything. Pablo Mari on the right, I'm not sure about that yet, playing on the right side of the defense. I know that we wouldn't do that, definitely. So for me, I would go for Leno, Tierney, Cedric, Luiz and Gabriel, and then Xhaka, Partey, and then Saka and Pepe, either wing, and then Odegaard and Aubameyang. I wouldn't mind if Lacazette starts up front and Aubameyang starts on the left, and we miss out on Pepe, because Lacazette and Aubameyang have done really well in the last couple of derbies. I think they've both scored in both games. I think even also at White Hart Lane for Lacazette, a banger last season. So for all that, I'll be okay with. But I actually do feel like he'll bring back Smith Rowe on the left side again, the way he played against Benfica in both legs. So Smith Rowe on the left and Odegaard as the number 10. I wouldn't be surprised if Pepe missed out and then Saka on the right, Aubameyang up front. And then maybe the only change, I think Bellerin could start. I know you guys don't like Bellerin, but I think Bellerin could start instead of Cedric. I prefer Cedric defensively because we've just mentioned those players. Son and Bale, if they turn up, I think this game will be won in the fullback positions, because Aurier, Davis, Doherty, they're not that brilliant. Doherty is good at Wolves, but he hasn't been that good at Tottenham. So if Pepe turns up and has Aurier, I can see a red card very easily, just like he tortured the guy from Leicester. I don't remember his name. I think it was Thomas. Yeah, it was Thomas. How could I forget? And then for us as well, if Bellerin doesn't turn up or Cedric plays, then he doesn't turn up as well. And then Son or Bale plays very well, we're in trouble. So that would be my starting lineup. Maybe the only thing I'd say is Smith Rowe maybe would start for Arteta and Bellerin as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Bellerin did start. I mean, Arteta already just loves him as a person, and after that block he made against Olympiacos, that really did keep us in the game the other day. I wouldn't be surprised if he loves him even more, so that wouldn't be a shock. But of course, anything can happen, any lineup can go out. Both of these managers are, quite unpredictable, but looking at the managers quickly, of course, Arteta and Mourinho, what have you made of them both, and would you swap them at Arsenal? That has been a big talking point for the past couple of days.
Absolutely not. I'll tell you why, because I still believe in Arteta. I still believe in the next. I think Arteta is a better manager than Mourinho right now. Mourinho is a good manager 2004, 5, 6, 7, 2010 with Inter Milan. But he's been sacked by United, he's been sacked by Chelsea. He's lost that Mourinho special one ability. Defensive football. I know Arteta's played defensive football a bit most of the time since he joined. It won us the FA Cup, in fact. So for me, for Arteta, I'd still keep him. I wouldn't swap Mourinho. That is one reason that I think he still has a better future. I don't like the defensive football of scoring one and literally defending, although we've done ourselves that a couple of times. Mourinho's attitude, terrible, always complaining, always arguing with the commentators, with the journalists about, I've won three, none of them have won any like me, all that. I wouldn't take Mourinho. I feel like if Mourinho came to Arsenal, Aubameyang and Lacazette will leave tomorrow, because he fell out with Shaw and Pogba, he fell out with Hazard and Willian. He'll fall out with Aubameyang and Lacazette definitely within a day. So
yeah, 100% for me as well. I would not swap them. Mourinho, he may even just, stop being a manager in the next couple of years. And I was even hearing a Spurs fan the other day saying they only really brought him in just because he's one of those serial winners, and there wasn't that many other managers out there. So he can try and get them something, try and bring in a few players, get them a trophy if that is possible at Spurs, because they did actually hit 13 years without one the other day. So congratulations. And then he's out of the job again. So I keep Arteta, has a future. Arsenal and Mourinho, doesn't go well at all. He's been to all of our rivals except us, of course. So for me, it is a no-brainer. But getting on to the final question of the day, the absolute big one. Glenn, what is your score prediction?
Prediction. I've been a bit tried to this ones the last few weeks in a different podcast with you, with the Benfica game with Willian getting assists and all that. I'm going to go with Arsenal 2 and Tottenham 1. I feel like we'll take the lead and then they'll equalize, and then Kane is 1 goal away from equaling the record for most goals against Arsenal. He's even beaten the likes of Drogba, who tortured us for years, Rooney, Peter Crouch, so he's 1 goal away. So I think he will score again. Unfortunately, Kane. And then for us, Aubameyang will get the first one. And then if Willian gets more than 30 minutes, not 5 minutes, if he gets more than 30 minutes, so that is if he starts or if he comes on in the 50th minute, he'll score his first Arsenal goal against Tottenham.
Well, I mean, I would not be unhappy with that result, but I can't see Willian scoring. That's what I'm going to say.
He also has a very good record against them.
Yeah, that is true. He could use one of his 5 good games a year against Tottenham. Fingers crossed he does turn up. But in terms of my score prediction, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think it will be a close one. 2 very good teams. Yes, like I said, it's cliche, but form does go out of the window in these North London derbies. In terms of who will score the goals, I think Aubameyang definitely will score. And the other one, Lacazette, I think that link-up, like you said, always does so well against Tottenham. And I think it will spark again tomorrow. And I believe the other goal will be from Gareth Bale. He's another one who does like to score against Arsenal, who I haven't really talked about much recently. But he is at Tottenham now. He's starting to get in a bit of form just in time for the Arsenal game. But that about wraps it up. So thank you, Glenn, so much for coming on the channel. Where can people find you?
Thank you very much for having me. Sorry, I wanted to say I remember Bale's first ever goal. It was against Arsenal, and I remember where I was sitting. That's how bad it was. I remember I was sitting who was watching the game with, and that was like 12 years ago or something. So I'll go for Arsenal 2, Tottenham 1. That's my final prediction. They can find me on everything Arsenal. You just search for everything Arsenal on YouTube, and then you could find me there. And then on Twitter, just started a new Twitter page for everything Arsenal. So everything 49 AFC. That's where you can find me, and Facebook and all that, everything Arsenal.
Awesome. So make sure to go and subscribe to Glenn. There will be a link to his channel down below in the description. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment. It is the big one tomorrow, the North London derby. I'll be with you after the game for a full match day vlog, and I'm going to try and get something set up so I will get my live reactions to the goals in that video as well. So you will not want to miss it, whether you are a Tottenham or an Arsenal fan, although hopefully no Tottenham fans will be watching the video. But I'll see you then. Bye.